Um, like I just wanted to share with you some of the key things that I'm thinking about now. Like I'm thinking about a new social contract and the process by which we get to a new social contract, a proper global social contract for humanity. I'm thinking about legitimacy. The means by which we gain general, widespread authority or legitimacy. Thinking about things like self-determination. I'm thinking about certainty and trust. I'm thinking about proof of concepts and fleshing out ideas. Those are some kind of the things that are I've kind of got kind of jumbling around while you guys talk as a political science and lawyer. But anyway, I get verbose. Sorry, I could talk underwater. Please excuse me.
Oh, beautiful, brother. But again, what I see with so many of the learned ones, and the educated, is to create that complexity from the logical brain, right? So again, what I'd love to see is just say that money is no object, that you have all of the resources that you wish, and give this to a country and watch what they are going to do. Everyone is in a place of comfort. They have all of the resources, the technology, and the food, everything. So then where are they going to put their focus when you take the main problem creator out of the equation? So then you can just, as you're doing, it's actually utopia, but it's a real heaven on earth scenario. And that's what's right at the fingertips of everyone. And it is the new world. And, with this, Mike, I have, we have ones that, with the consciousness level, they feel there needs to be a bridge, a certain transitional step. And, with that is some of the, what I call the false narratives. Let's pick on, if you're familiar with the Nasara concept, that is one of the false narratives that robs the individual of their intrinsic value and unlimited worth, right again, by putting the value into an external resource like gold or silver, what have you. So again, that is a trick on the consciousness, but many are looking at that, as a transitory step. But again, who owns the majority of the gold? Who actually owns all of these minerals? How can anyone really be free that way and know they can? So again, the lawful structure, the majority simply rules. And again, when the majority create an agreement altogether, it is a binding agreement, but it also has superiority over any, let's say, individual country as well upon the planet. And what it's all of its platform is humane. So it never hurts any country or any individual. It actually uplifts them. So there is, again, no opposition. But when we go to lawful stature, again, this is universal. It's comprised of people from every world or every country upon the planet, but it itself, GPMS, is a universal nation. Its jurisdiction is universal all around the world, while a country's jurisdiction is only small. It's only to the country. So when you have a universal jurisdiction, it's very easy to see what is the superior jurisdiction, and it has to be the people as well. So again, nothing can compete with that lawful structure.
You have to also take into consideration, all of the peoples of the planet, like properly. So obviously we see, like, the native peoples of Africa, of Asia, South Americas, they're having their land stolen from them and taken from them. And so a lot of these other solutions that are out there being put out there as hopium, a lot of them anyway, they're still not recognizing the intrinsic value and the God-given rights of every human being upon the planet. And okay, yes, we don't own the land. None of us, you could say that even the native people don't own that land, but there is obviously about respect, and of course, the reason why that those native people used to fight and compete was often for resources, and also because they weren't evolved at that point to where we are now. We are evolving, we have been evolving. So of course, moving forward, advancing humanity forward to that world, where we are now an evolved version of human beings, right? If we're all human beings, that is. But we obviously know what the respect is, and obviously we can create the abundance. And with the technology that we have now, which wasn't available, hundreds and thousands of years ago, possibly in the way that it is now, we can create and heal the planet extremely quickly, especially when we are in control of full flow of the money as the people, doing it, because then we can obviously just create the, if we're still using money in that transitional phase, if it's a transitional phase where, ultimately we don't end up needing money as an instrument, we just do things to obviously do what's good for people and for the planet. But if there's a transitional phase, at that point, we're just using money as a good tool. The money is released, it's used to create, everything that's needed instantly to heal the planet rapidly. And I have visions again, or ideas that came to me years ago, long time ago, before even climate change was really a thing, where I was sort of aware of the cutting down of trees and what have you. And I just said, well, you could be building platforms across the ocean where you could be growing the wood that you need to use for different things without having to cut down the forests and the jungles. If money wasn't a factor, if it wasn't a restriction, you would be able to do that. The possibilities are absolutely endless when we've got control of full flow of money, and there is no limit to it. It's completely unlimited when we're living in that world that's unlimited. And that's why GPMS is the ultimate solution, where the people are able to see it, where we're able to get it in, strike that point in their consciousness for the individual that's been presented GPMS at that moment or not. Ultimately they will come to see it, but it's just when, it's the divine timing of that individual.
Human history, the majority on its own doesn't translate into moral and political legitimacy. Okay, history is full of examples where the majority of people thought one thing and did things on the back of what they thought that had terrible outcomes and was in fact wrong, we know in hindsight. So quite often in political science, and I guess in sociology, we see an effective and robust body of law as the bulwark against the excesses of the majority. And it's just, I don't want to labor the point, but I just want to raise it here, which part of the reason why we have an institutional framework in a society that we do is because these institutions have and still do play intrinsic and important roles in the way our society works and the balance that is attained in that society. It's just one of the things I think important to be aware of, because yes, it's important that the majority have the say, but yeah, the majority can get things very wrong too.
Yeah, I mean, you still need to have those ones that have the experience, the expertise in their fields to be able to lead. But it's just they're not doing it with authority, and they're not doing it to cause stress upon people. They're doing it for the absolute government. So you will still have structures, of course, and we'll still have all of that sort of stuff in place. But it's just, it's just the very basic of just getting people aligned to what an unlimited world looks like, being able to create that vision in people and actually being able to explore that with imagination. And that's where, again, fleshing it out is a great thing to do. I mean, obviously for a lot of people, they're going to want to, once they've got enough interest in that, they recognize it enough in their heart that, hey, this world isn't what we want, and I don't really like the idea of what the World Economic Forum are talking about. If they've heard about that organization, they've looked into that, then obviously what's the alternative? What are the other options? And then when they learn about GPMS and they actually put some time and energy, there's a lot of people that are leaning on those academic people they look up to, or they're not educated individuals particularly, and they look at the ones that are educated, and they think, well, if they're in alignment with something, then they're intelligent. It must be for a good reason, and so they'll just follow what the more intelligent ones are doing. And that's how the soft brainwashing works upon the people, because it works on people across education, and so the ones that we saw, the academics that were, doctors and surgeons that were pushing the narrative and the COVID and all the rest of it, a lot of people were on side because they saw all of these people in the mainstream only being the ones that were allowed to really express their point of view, which was in alignment to the narrative, and they got sucked in by it. Of course, what we're doing, we're not brainwashing anybody. We're just we are creating a very exciting future, which we're giving people to look forward to. So that's enough to obviously get the people on board. I mean, one thing that I was going to add, I mean, obviously, again, and this is where there is discussion that occurs, and we have, constantly we're having obviously different Zooms with people and, podcasts and stuff like that, which is going to grow and grow and grow. And conversations come up where obviously, again, a lot of people think, well, what about, these people that have mental health problems, that they can't see things from their heart space because they've lacked love and what have you. And of course, again, this is where, again, coming up with questions, thought-provoking questions, which will obviously help people sort of see that, imagine a world where basically people aren't put in prison because they've committed a perceived crime, or the ones that have already been convicted, they're not in a prison cell, being further oppressed and further affected mentally with their situation, but they're rehabilitated, in a beautiful environment, which is stimulating, where there's love, there's care, there's, that kind of acceptance for them being a divine individual that's unfortunately just been born into an environment that has created them to be doing bad things with bad behavior, and that rehabilitation, that love, actually is likely to really be able to heal those people very, very rapidly. And that's the kind of thing that would be available, because there'll be unlimited funding for everything like that to heal the people and the planet.
Even the new healing technology, because everything is free for everyone, they have access to all of that. But also the new technologies is also being introduced, during the course of this. I'm also just going to say that, as we raise the consciousness of the planet and the vibration, the overall frequency, it enables the first public contact of extraterrestrials, if you will. So having said that, that's some pleasant surprises that do come with that. But getting back, let's say, to what you would say is realistic, and this is realistic, with GPMS, by offering, let's say, to the government's enforcement agencies, the police and the military, but offering to the individuals GPMS and knowing, that they're fully secure, their family for the rest of their life. A government cannot offer the lottery that GPMS is offering to them as well. So they're going to choose that as well. But what this does, any enforcement of a tyrannical government, they began to lose it, because each one is morally obligated to do the right things for humanity, meaning that there is also no government resistance, because the human souls that are part of the militaries and the police are going to support this. I'll take Canada for an example, where police, if you will, are leaving the force there and have already left it due to the corona situation, because they cannot stand by, and see law broken and people's individual rights infringed upon and being violated. And this is also the beauty of the last few years worldwide with the pandemic, what it actually did, and all of the evidence that is coming out with this. So having said this, again, this is another instrument with the pandemic that is pushing humanity forward to trusting, let's say, the people rather than the governments. I believe some of the recent polls about trusting the governments as representatives of the people had about 85% not trusting governments at all. So who are they going to trust with this? They're going to trust the heart-based, higher consciousness individuals that are together and have the full plan, the strategy, and the direction. So there is no time to sit and wonder, what strategies, what options do we have? The real full game plan is already here upon the planet with GPMS, and it works perfectly. It's concrete.
Yeah, I think, I mean, again, yeah, that's like a really important point that you just, touched on there as well, in terms of the importance that obviously that we just do get together in one space, and we are connecting, behind the scenes as well on Telegram. But obviously, the platform of GPMS is the instrument, the divine instrument, to have everyone visibly shown with numbers and the individual agreements logged, and that's the power of it. That's one of the most important points of parts of what we're doing with this. But it's important to obviously get people coming together and collaborating, because at the moment, if you look at the people who are going and they're doing protests and stuff like that, part of the kind of illusion of the matrix and how the media are controlling things is that they're limiting what people see, and painting the picture that it's these crazy individuals that are just a limited number of people. But of course, when you start getting more people getting together in the one place, and we are unifying, we're aligning with each other, because that's what we're doing through the platform, and then behind it, we're able to actually start fanning out with what we do in terms of our communication to the wider public, so that they can't be brought under this illusion or kept under this illusion anymore. And we have to do it, pretty quickly, because, as time is ticking along all the time, I don't have any doubt that we've already won this. But of course, people are under this, are allowing themselves to sort of not necessarily act as quickly as one that, really, everybody should be acting really quickly. Like, this is, in 2024, we're going to go completely digital. They've got this agenda to obviously bring in everything in 2030, but maybe there'll be things that will occur which will have a significant impact on people, obviously, between now and then. So really, we should be acting more and more quickly. I do really feel that 2023 is the year for us to actually start really making a huge impact and really getting that exponential growth, and even implementing it, getting to implementation with, full alignment from the people worldwide. Because, there is no time to waste. People are dying every single day. Children are starving every single day. It's getting worse and worse. And we've just got the power within us just to change all of that, as soon as the people just do the right thing. And that's just come to an agreement that create the abundance through the people taking over and taking control of things. And, like I say, we'll have all of the people and all the skills as soon as we've got all of the people aligned with us and connected with us via telegrams and behind the scenes of GPMS. We'll be doing all of that. It will just happen organically. But we have to do it. That's what we have to do. We have to come together in one space. And there is nothing else out there like GPMS at the moment. And even Jordan Peterson talking about doing something. I mean, he's talking about October. So that's another 8 months or so away. And although he might have some, very well connected people that have obviously a big impact, that can maybe make quite a big impact quite quickly at that point, they still don't have the platform. They don't have the platform that we've got, and we've got the numbers already. It's already happening. The word's already spreading. We're already thousands of people around the world, talking about GPMS. It's already happening. So, and it has got in front of people. We know it's got in front of people who do have power and influence. They just haven't necessarily agreed to it, and they haven't started to speak to people about it. But that will happen. But that's where, again, once we start breaking into those influencers, and yourself included, with 2 million people that you talk to on a daily basis, this would be it's an interesting question for me to ask you, just to hear what your answer would be. But you obviously are talking to these ones obviously on a daily basis, but let's just say you were completely aligned with what we were talking about tonight, and you were like, yeah, okay, I completely see it, I do get it 100% wholeheartedly. How do you sort of, as somebody that has that readership, how would you potentially want to try and sort of introduce it to them, or how would you might you go about that? Would you go about that? Would you feel that you could do that without it jeopardizing what you think your readers would appreciate about you? Maybe you feel that they might not like it, or it might sort of make them, sort of lose interest in your work. Do you think, is that a factor for you? I'm just interested to know. What would you say on that?
I've got about 5 more minutes.
Sure.
Just so you know, I really appreciate you guys taking the couple of hours, but my phone's gonna die.
I appreciate your
So I've
time.
got about 5 minutes. It's definitely the need and desire for change in our world is a present topic amongst almost everybody I speak to, and in amongst almost everything I write. The need for change, the desire for change, and what the future may and could look like. Having said that, people nowadays are very tentative about being told anything political. It's almost becoming like as soon as you mention politics, people feel like they've been hit with a cattle prod and they run the other way.
Exactly.
So when I talk about PR kind of stuff, that's kind of a little bit what I'm talking about. It's about talking to people in the right way. And you're right, people don't really need verbose tomes of detail and, laws and stuff, but they do want to know the substance, And I think there are some very innovative ways with my group of creatives and writers that we can talk about the future world and what it would look like in ways that are synergistic with what you guys are trying to do. And I wanted to thank you because even though there's some little disagreement about details and form between us, I think we're broadly on the same platform. And you have my in principle support with almost everything you've said. I mean, I see things slightly different in some things, but I don't think there's any issue of intrinsic disagreement. I hope you feel the same way, Rick.
Oh, I do. We're always open-minded because, again, we're always solution oriented. And again, there are no problems. So during the course of conversation, the remedy is created, which is the solution, as you can see. And, I don't say this from an egotistical or conceited way, but there is no question that you nor your group can ask me that I cannot answer with the solution. And this is my confidence and conviction of it. But again, that needs to be shown and proven and demonstrated perhaps to many people. I've been constantly doing this, but there is no blockages with it. And again, what I wish to say is this entire planet could be run by a 12-year-old child. That's the simplicity of it. Just by doing and everyone coming together with this one common goal and give everyone the resource that they need, which is money, and give that to them. And what you're going to see within a matter, I would say it could occur, within a year or a couple years, humanity's going to realize they don't need money at all. What are you doing? So you have a fully share-based world, but at the same time, you have this other contact in coming in, and you've just unlocked the entire creative, ingenious ability of the world, where the focus can be put on the innovation of also advancing the existing technology upon the planet. So what you just do is the super consciousness is right at the doorstep here right now. And we have the absolute opportunity to unlock it. And this is what we're doing because this is the ascension. And humanity is evolving in the least into that super consciousness. And, these old savage ways of anyone upon the planet being in any form of lack or hardship, it's savage, it's barbaric, it's not humane. So 90% of the planet are no longer going to allow it, as you're saying.
It is happening.
So
yeah. I mean, there's so many different things going on with different people across completely different groups. Like so many, where they are contributing to this shift in consciousness. And you've got people that are doing the sort of self-empowerment courses that are actually, you know, I got involved with a super conscious magnetic mind course, and those people are like, you know, increasing consciousness with what they're doing with people that are joining those courses. But you've got then even actors that have come through the other side, seemingly so anyway, that have obviously had ego death, and then they're starting to communicate on podcasts about their experience within the film industry, and you know, and actually how egotistic they were and how horrible they were, and all the rest of it. So there's so many things like that occurring constantly that it all is contributing to the wider collective consciousness, and it's all shifting. Of course, then you look at the statistics of where, you know, a town of 2 million people were praying or doing meditation, and it actually stopped a dictatorship, you know, as savage as he probably was going to be because of something that was going on there at the time. But they shifted consciousness with their meditation, and I know I just have a knowing that power is there, and that's something that is again metaphysical that we don't see. But anyway, I appreciate your time, Michael. Thank you so much for giving us all your time today, and I hope we can continue discussions, and hopefully we can you know, provide you something as well that can sort of maybe you can consider obviously looking at more. And
you know, I hope I can be more generally involved. Like I'd like to join the team and at least be constructive contributor if you guys are amenable to that.
Of course.
I'm really open to sharing ideas and bringing what I have to the table and seeing if we can hash out a better solution. That's what I'm about, you know.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. We're all converging. As you're saying, there's so many groups worldwide, and we're in the time of convergence, bringing everyone into unity. And it's already here, the think tank and all of the solutions. But the way it's been, all of the solutions and the pieces of the puzzle is contained within all of these groups worldwide. So we just bring them together, and we have the one common denominator that fixes everything, as we can see, and that's just flipping the use of money, flipping the table and using it entirely for the good, as we said. So, you know, come together with this one common denominator. It's all done. It's done now, really. As Den said, we're just acting out the roles, if you wish.
Onwards and upwards, I suppose, guys. Pleasure to meet you, Rick. Thank you so much, my friend.
You as well, brother. I've really enjoyed, and I am impressed with your expertise as well in all of these pertinent fields, if you will. And I'm also, with that, Mike, I'm available anytime if you have a meeting or something with your group. You know, if I can come in and they can bounce things off of me, if you wish. You know, everything about taking humanity forward. That's what this is about, very quickly.
Thank you, my brother. Can I get an email address off of you from Den? Do you mind if I grab an email address?
No, I'd rather. Are you on WhatsApp or Telegram? Are you on any of those?
My security systems hate those two for some reason.
Yeah, you're in Australia. Yeah. The servers all government censored there. Yeah, I know. To keep the Australian people, you know, suppressed. Yeah, I got an email. Dan, you got my email, don't you? Or I'll send it.